Previously on Going Public.
Individually, you might think that we're small, independent operators trying to struggle to grow a business, but together, we can be one of the biggest companies in Australia.
A group of shopkeepers were sold on the idea of merging their companies and listing on the stock exchange.
I think they're going to float this business for $100 million.
They gave themselves 6 months to get it done.
We've got to move faster. We've got to move faster. Faster, faster, faster.
Apple.
They tried to sort out who gets what slice of the pie.
But I guess I'm just at a loss in how the status graph can go from 9 or 10 down to we lose half our value.
So have you got many offers that are worth a lot more than this offer?
We have one.
They thought they'd found their new company name.
You say it once to someone and they're not going to forget that you're a company called Whoosh.
And they got to know each other a little better.
I'm affectionately known as the Smiling Assassin.
Some would say he's out there, he's psycho, aggressive, intense.
And I never ever accept losing.
It's just over a month since the owners of 7 Apple computer dealerships met secretly and agreed to join forces.
Too cold.
Tonight, around the country, the owners have gathered the employees to launch their bold plan.
Wouldn't it be great if you woke up tomorrow and all of your competitors were your colleagues? Stunned look on your face, but that's essentially what we're talking about.
At GM Computer in Sydney, senior employee Craig Rispin and boss George McCreasis sell their vision to the staff.
In a strategic move to capitalize on the buoyant and increasing market share of Apple Computer in Australia, 7 of the major Apple channel partners have announced a proposal to merge their operations into a single business operation having potential to list on the Australian Stock Exchange.
So we'd like to work together rather than working against each other. And I think if we work together as a team, we can achieve so much more than probably beating ourselves.
And we'll be the largest Apple dealer that Australia's ever seen in years and years and years of trading.
Ever.
Yeah, probably ever. We're really excited. If you could see the way a bunch of competitors have now become colleagues and friends talking about the future and what we can develop together, I think you'd be amazed.
I thought there was a million things that could stop them from happening, but I didn't share those things with other people. I had to lead by being positive. I mean, so many of their partners had their own concerns, but if they had known what I was worrying about, they probably would have never got into the deal.
The main concern for prospective partner Lindsay McComb is staying in business. He has 2 shops, and this one, Status Graph Glebe, moves more Apple product than any other shop in the country.
Landlord just rang me up.
But Lindsay is a big discounter, and despite his huge turnover, times are tough.
It was a bit of a dog-eat-dog kind of world because you're selling the same thing, virtually. What made that dream appear plausible is that obviously a way to keep the margins up and therefore keep the business viable and economical and progressive in order to go forward required a fair bit of money and energy and facilities, and they were just not there.
Someone goes into receivership or liquidation or something like that.
I mean, what if that happens? I mean, I would have thought that with the status graph, if that happened straight away, I think stores attracting us just jump right in there and fix the problem.
Exactly right.
That's actually what I was hoping my money right there.
That's what I was hoping.
That's exactly right. That's one store I'll be putting my money into. It's a cracker.
Yep. To the rest of the merged group, Lindsay's big shop is a coveted prize. The only thing holding it back is Lindsay.
Yeah, that's right. We were talking about rolling status yesterday. Like rolling, like get the bloody thing in there. Yeah, I think they don't have an accounting system.
I said, this isn't my desk. My desk is a pile of crap with a phone balancing on it.
One of the things we're going to have to probably do in that store is tidy it up for your stock take.
600 cubic metre dumpsters dumped out the Glebe Point Road out the front. We'll just start chucking stuff into the bin.
It's really bad.
You've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, we're active for half an hour now.
The partners from Nextbite, Adam Steinhardt and Crawford Giles, bring plenty of youthful enthusiasm to the process.
Especially what's possible.
They can't wait to get their hands on Statusgraph. And with Lindsay McComb away, the boys are about to play.
Jeff, Adam Steinhardt, how are you, mate? The reason why this has come up is because the whole group, not just Statusgraph, the entire group needs to isolate stock which is not going to be valued at full value. So what we want to do at 6:30 tonight is come down and help you guys tidy up and also get stuff prepared for a stock take. Yep, so we just want to do that. So 6:30, all right for you? Super, thanks, Jeff. Cheers, mate. Bye.
We certainly weren't going to let our company merge into something else and then let it roll along. I'm not sure that toughness is required to achieve what we'd set out to achieve. I mean, essentially my goal was to get the entities merged together from an operational perspective, and that meant a tight deadline, and it meant people adhering to those deadlines.
Great, dude.
I think we need a...
I wonder how this stuff's connected.
Weight, gravity.
Hey, Don, how are you, man? Good, just dismantling Statusgraph. Completely revamping it. Pulling it apart, getting all the shit out, putting all the stuff in the right spots as best we can. Well, this thing's what's holding it there. Take this down there and strife though. But this could be great.
Adam is a former Commonwealth Games pole vaulter, so energy is not a problem. Commandeering the staff and deconstructing what is still somebody else's business doesn't seem to be a problem either.
What I suggest we do is actually take some stock, which would include IMAX, and make a big wall out of this. Yeah. Okay, so we get a big, powerful message of Apple. So when the customer walks in, they just see cool-looking IMAX rather than messy-looking desk.
Right. I'm happy with all the changes, provided that it just doesn't throw these guys into a spin. I'm sure it won't.
There's no way a box will fit under them, unfortunately.
There we go. Might actually look like a shop by the time I finish, mate.
All that crap is to go downstairs to the dumpster, and then all those standards get stacked up against this wall.
Good thinking, man. Perfect.
Scott Thompson, the owner of Max Place, has been sticking close to the young guns from Nextbite. He seems to be enjoying this process even more than Adam.
Let's buy it first. Let's roll them in first and then tear it up.
Okay.
Poor bastard will come back. Oh, that's control. Do you remember his very first question?
What was that?
Who would run my shop? And I'm thinking it's not you.
No, we're getting taped in, you'll be careful.
Watch the pin nails. Yeah. A is for abomination.
Ironically, the business in the most trouble is not Lindsay's. None of the others know that Scott's 8-shop company is millions of dollars in debt. His best chance to free himself of the burden is to find an investor keen enough on the deal to buy him out, hopefully before the group discovers it.
My biggest concern was, I hope this doesn't fall apart, because my only agenda is to sell my business. I'm going to keep this merger on the rails, come what may. I feel like, what's that home improvement show where you've got a weekend and you've got to build...
Yeah, it's called a show of slaughter.
So I quickly aligned myself with them because they seemed just as enthusiastic to get the job done as I was. They also seemed to be the ones most headstrong in getting their own way. So for that reason, you just kept them going, you just kept them happy, you just kept them feeling that they were in charge.
Good work, boys. Now we're talking. That's retail. That's retail.
It was just a case of they didn't understand the culture. They didn't understand what made it tick. And to go in and misunderstand a particular store because you have a personal concept of something or other, it could have been a bit of self-indulgence, perhaps.
$1 million, you're a legend. It's improving. This door's isn't it?
Yeah, the door's stuffed. But I think it was obvious to everyone that Max Place and Nextbite had teamed up to want to run the entire show. I mean, I was told to do something about it. Go and break them up and change them because we can't have that. I mean, some of the other parties told me it was my responsibility to break them up in some way. And I replied to that, how?
It's July. In 3 weeks' time, the companies will begin to merge. Publicly, the group presents a picture of perfect unity.
That's a good look.
But behind the scenes, the power plays are in full swing.
And there's so much to do. I mean, it's absolutely really, really scary when you consider that we are taking on things that we would normally dedicate a day or 2 days of discussion to are being done in 5 minutes like that. Because there's so many issues which are getting resolved very quickly and have to be done quickly.
Crawford Giles already has the top finance role. And Adam Steinhardt has someone in mind for the top job, Chief Executive Officer.
All of us in the background are absolutely key and critical for running the micro parts of it, no doubt about that at all. But by having a figurehead, it gives, it's just like captain of the ship. If you don't have a captain, it's pretty hard to know where the ship's going, and it's sort of, it's ruling by committee, you never really know.
I actually like the choice of Adam.
I do too.
But I think, in fact, I would probably only choose between Adam and Craig Rispin to be that.
I'd like to keep any tension that's in the group creative. And I think it's important that everybody is brought in onto any of those really major decisions.
There may be something they didn't view.
I was getting calls at all hour of the night saying, you've got to stop this. They're going to control the whole process. And I said, well, hold on a second. You're the principals. You're the equity holders. You say something about it. When you're in this next meeting, put your foot down. Say something. But it just seemed never to happen.
Just reporting back from the telephone conversations with Lindsay McComb and with Rob Costa, they are in agreement with the fact that Adam would assume the position of interim CEO. Congratulations.
Excellent.
2 weeks later, the interim Chief Executive Officer gets set to sink his teeth into his next project. Ad man, Simon Reynolds.
On item 15, we are now of the view, and I'm pretty sure you people are of the view, that we either decide a name today or by next Tuesday we lock everybody away until we got a name to decide. It's critical.
I also think that if Love don't decide the names for today, then they get axed.
Yeah, we say.
In the course of a naming day, the group and the brand experts from Love came up with Whoosh as the name most likely. Unfortunately, the all-important Whoosh.com has already been taken, so Simon is back with some ideas of his own.
Okay, the first one I want to put up to you is the orchard. It's all about a lot of great fruit. They've always been portrayed as a place that as a kid, it was exciting. The 1 or 2 times in your life you might have had a chance to run up and down an orchard. The thing about Appleville, there's a friendly town feeling to it. If you had, 30 or 40 of these stores that are Applevilles, then people who were looking to buy a computer would say, well, that's going to be likely to be a larger, more comprehensive store. What we're saying is these are smart machines. They're not like your typical machine that you can buy. They're smart. It's like a happening 00 kind of place. The fourth one that I recommend is Dreambox. It's not just your typical cheap Taiwanese PC. It's an extraordinary box that enables you to accelerate your dreams. But what are the thoughts about this?
The orchard clearly talks about Apple. Appleville also wouldn't be allowed to be used potentially because it's got Apple in the word. I have a problem with the word box, referring to the iMac as a box, because this is not. Box is something we use to talk about DOS boxes.
I'm looking to you for interpretation.
We could close this off in the next 15 minutes with one simple direction, and that is that we only concentrate on dream words.
So we start with A, Dreamer.
Dream aardvark. Yeah, aardvark.
Do you feel that on this board are names that you think could be great for your company? And if the answer is no, then that's a whole different kettle of fish. If the answer is yes, then we should get to that point.
I don't believe the names up there right now. It may well be. I could be wrong. but I'm just concerned that the process we've gone through is nothing more than us sitting around as a bunch of hack businessmen with logic brains, on a thesaurus, having a crack. Now,
it was a process that we contracted with you to go through, and that process hasn't happened. We spent one day. So I think Adam's point is, what's happened to our contract? It's been thrown in the bin, and Adam's, I think, asking a reasonably clear and reasonable question as to what value is love adding to this process.
That every name that's come up pretty much so far has been from us through a series of games we played to invoke thought, but not really from a scientific point of view of getting names on the table. And ultimately, if we pay $5,000 for that, I'm happy, because it's a $5,000 process. But to pay 50 is an absolute shitload.
Let me ask you this question. Is everybody here happy to proceed with this process?
We need to continue the process, because we haven't got anything else.
It's analysis paralysis, and that's what we're into, analysis paralysis. Whereas you've got to take that leap of intuition, and it's got to grab your emotions.
The word I think down the end was cajole or balls. Cojones. Put yours on the line. What's the name?
Dreamhead.
Not dickhead.
You know, you can always slam a name.
Rev is the one that grows me by the nuts because of the fact we can own the whole thing. Yeah. We can really imprint in people's brains.
Rev grabs me the most.
Yeah.
The French flavour is...
It's a really cool marketing thing because we've got Rev, which is French for dreams, and Rev, the word, is accelerate, which is unbelievable. It is. From that point, it's a good matchup.
Yeah. To me, Rev just reminds me of some big US corporation that could be in any number of 10 industries.
Perfect. That's us.
But quite seriously, you know what I mean? You can see just the logo inside, you know, down Wall Street or something.
The merge of the businesses is scheduled to start in just a few days. Superficially, the process is on track. But simmering tensions are set to boil over in one fateful meeting. For Barbara Kloster, the behaviour of the Next Bite team has become intolerable.
I went to the meeting that day to walk out, and I had lost confidence in Robert's, not in Robert, but I'd lost confidence in my ability to influence his decision-making in any way. And I said, all right, as a half owner of DesignWise, I'm walking away. I'm stepping away from the table. I will not have a part of this. What you do then is entirely up to you.
And I was prepared to go too. She wasn't part of it. I wasn't part of it.
And
nothing was worth our marriage, so I was prepared to go with whichever way it went.
Now a wholly owned subsidiary of Choice Connections. And in return...
Scott Thompson too has serious concerns. His $3 million debt has just been uncovered.
Due to the state of the balance sheet at Max Place Group, some key players within the merge process, particularly Apple Computer, were nervous about the project in general, and in fact the project was probably in jeopardy. But the issue going forward in terms of Max Place's contribution to the group is that we're a profitable business, just have a significant hole in our capital base.
So, but where did the hole come from?
The hole came from 1998.
I would have looked fairly apprehensive because I was literally 99% down the path of achieving my objective. I had found a buyer, we had agreed on a price, Max Place was effectively sold, but I didn't have a signature. I was fairly apprehensive that day.
With Scott's true position revealed, Next Bite now have an opportunity to up the ante. They want their slice of the pie to increase from 18 to 26.5%.
Next Bite has been unhappy with the valuation exercises from day one, and we've expressed those concerns. The point where Next Bite has come to today and last night is that there's been views expressed around the table that this deal can occur with Next Bite or without Next Bite, and all emotion aside, we've got an asset which is available for sale, and the price that it's available for sale for is 26.5%. We're not interested or want to get into any discussions about how that price is arrived at. That's the price we're willing to sell our business for, and if the parties around the table are willing to take us on into the merge at that price, then we're fully supportive and committed to it. If the parties around the table are not willing to take Next Bite on at that price, then we are completely supportive of you guys and hope that the flow goes well for you, and wish you all the success in the world. That's really on the table. We're happy to leave the room and let you guys discuss that.
No, I think it's fine. I think we should discuss it as a group.
Okay, cheers.
Cool.
For the group to yield to NextBite's demand, each of the owners would have to accept less himself, with each percent potentially equaling $1 million at float time. Feelings are running high.
We've seen the dynamics working over the last month, disappointingly, where, you know, all the little agendas are starting to surface and we want them out on the table. Because I must admit, last night I gave some serious thought as to what Arthur Andersen corporate finance position would be going forward. Well, we don't mind if you don't take our advice, but we are certainly not going to lend our name and our credibility to a failed venture.
They're trying to manoeuvre, and I just think we could all win out of this, and it's just all of a sudden greed's become the prime motivator.
The reason that Adam and Crawford and Tim don't accept some of our work is they don't believe some of the margins that are being made around this table.
Yes, that's true.
Because they don't, you know, they're moving boxes out of the store, and I'm not sure that they've looked closely enough at the value-added stuff to understand where the margins are there.
I don't believe they're accurate.
They're correct. They say they're false numbers.
False numbers?
Yeah.
We're dead accurate. What Crawford has said, I just don't understand that business. That's all. He hasn't said that he thinks your numbers are false.
The main issue that Crawford expressed to me was he was never going to allow George to be bigger than him. That is the main issue. He doesn't have an issue with you or with you. He just doesn't want GM to be bigger than him.
The question I ask in my mind is this the last of the hand grenades, or is there going to be another one? And I'll tell you, if we get to the stage where we put our credibility and your credibility on the line, and then we get another hand grenade, I can tell you, your deal's blown out of the water.
Absolutely.
If it happens when we've got the underwriter on board, your deal's totally blown out of the water. Forget, we're walking. We'll walk before that. You know, we've got some investment here, but we're not afraid to walk either.
By agreeing to the valuation, you absolutely guarantee that they will always do that in the future, because the tactic has been successful. They've held everybody to ransom.
We can't be seen to capitulate, because otherwise it'll just happen all the time. But we do have to try and, if we can, be conciliatory and see if we can work out a situation.
I'm just going to put up my hand and say that I think the figures that Arthur Andersen have should remain the status quo going forward.
Stuart and I wouldn't mind just having a quick chat independently with Donald and George.
Guys, I'd like Craig in on the meeting, thanks. This is highly unprofessional.
We agree. We've got two parties here who want to compromise, who want to see the deal go forward, but they don't want them in control. So how do we achieve those goals? You know, George says, you know, I'm flexible. That's what you're saying, right? I'm flexible, but only to a point.
Yeah, exactly. No point having 20% of zero.
My guess is that they won't walk away, they'll say yes. And then they'll start plotting on the next hand.
That's what worries me. I just find it quite foreign that they would try to just damage potentially $18 million worth of their capital wealth just overnight. I just think that's quite bizarre. That's why I think this is a bluff.
You go see Crawford.
Yeah.
And Neil, it's your job. Sorry. I'll tell you what my coaches tell me. Neil, it is your job to scare them into this deal. And you tell them that there's not going to be substantial change. Because they're not going to move unless they think that there's some risk. They think there's no risk right now. That's the issue. It's the issue between Crawford and GM.
Well, let's take it to head then. Get them out of the whole deal. That'll make them real happy.
We didn't get to compromise. We were still debating it amongst the remaining 6 groups. You know, we had to have some time. But during that time we were discussing it, they walked right out.
They said if it took the group this long to decide whether they should be in the group, then that's it. Right? I said, oh well.
Excellent. You made a decision for us.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We just felt that that if they valued our what we were bringing to the table as much as we would want them to value it, then it shouldn't take quite so long to make a decision. We formed a view that that regardless of the outcome that came back, it just wasn't right for us to be part of it.
Next week on Going Public, 6 small businesses become one very big corporation. The new company goes to the movies.
So I thought, okay, I'll go focus on something that can add value beyond the box.
Hello?
And the new directors learn some harsh truths.
We're not ready to go anywhere near afloat.
They're quite happy to play chicken.
I think they're on the winning end.
Are you saying crazy? Yeah.
Yeah, it is crazy.
It is crazy.
They'll try and make the case that GM's the reason the deal's not proceeding rather than that.
It'll be on camera the next bite walked out on us.
It's just a documentary fact. You can't spin away from the fact that there's 3 empty chairs.
Would you like to play back?
Yeah.
Okay, $20. Within 24 hours there'll be a press release out from them. Gentleman's back.
The plan B was on the premise that the float can't go ahead without them.
That's right.
And that's the stumbling block where they made a mistake.
I think that they would feel lost in front of everybody.
If, and I think it's a big if they do come back, you don't kick a dog when it's down.
No, absolutely. We've always read that before you went.